Ripple, they're not waiting for permission. The takeover has already started now. We see everyone up on Capitol Hill fighting for regulations. We got some stories on that. That's still going to happen, and Ripple's a driving force. But XRP, it's quietly stepping onto Wall Street here. Bitwise, Franklin Templeton, 21 shares, CoinShares, they're XRP ETFs. They're now listed on the DTCC, the same clearing system you see used by BlackRock and Vanguard. Now, today we also saw the U.S. Treasury open the door for staking rewards on ETFs, giving institutions new ways to profit for digital assets. This is a full integration we see happening. And who's leading this shift? We saw Brad Garlinghouse sitting beside Pantera Capital saying, "We are the most interested party in XRP's success." A little different than what you hear from the FUDsters. CNBC, they call Ripple a firm conquering crypto, but now targeting traditional finance. The truth, we're watching the next phase of Ripple's playbook really unfold before our eyes. Not just rebuilding payments, but quietly positioning XRP as the backbone of regulated financial markets. This isn't hype. This is what's happening right now. Let's take a look at this. First and foremost, we have this update from Cointelegraph. Update Bitwise, Franklin Templeton, 21 shares, Canary Capital, and CoinShares XRP ETFs are now listed on the DTCC platform. We're getting close. Of course, we saw them update their filing. If the SEC doesn't approve first, you're going to see a lot of these start going live 20 days from, I think it was last week. So it's right there. But we're hearing the government shutdown is going to come to an end here shortly. And when that happens, the SEC gets back in the offices. They probably will manually approve these even sooner. It's just a matter of time. They're all stacking up, ready to go. Again, analysts are saying we may see up to $8 billion in inflows in the first 12 months. My buddy Billy, the XRP cowboy, estimates it'll be even more. Now we see this from Pantera Capital. Regulatory headwinds are now tailwinds. This is a quote from Brad Garlinghouse. Scaling liquidity and institutional partnerships for the next phase of crypto adoption. And that's where that quote from the opening came from. You see in that interview, Brad Garlinghouse, we are the most interested party in XRP success. They had the most of it, right? Tens of billions of XRP. If you want XRP to do well, they want tens of billions worth of XRP to really do well. That's going to define ultimately the lion's share of their value in that company. Yeah, payments, great business. Custody, stable coins, these are all high growth businesses, fine. But none of them have the opportunity to grow their market cap like XRP itself does, especially if we start seeing the company trade as a digital asset treasury, the biggest in the world, at a premium of their XRP holdings. Now, this came out from CNBC Crypto World today. Ripple Labs is conquering crypto. Now, XRP-linked firm wants to take on traditional finance. And really, it's kind of a double-edged sword there, right? It cuts both ways. Traditional finance is trying to take on the crypto space. They're all rolling out their stable coins, but what they have to know what networks they're going to use and how they integrate this. And of course, Ripple is one of the most advanced companies in the world at doing exactly that, taking blockchain technology and integrating it with traditional finance and financial systems. So they should continue to dominate as we go forward here. Now, XRP, it has the tech, but now it needs the voice. The Zhao DAO, it's leading this push for 1,000 members to launch decentralized governance for the XRP ledger. I'm really calling on everyone out there, creators, visionaries, community members, to join the movement and help shape the story ahead of us here. Take part in this future here. Once we hit 1,000 members, we unlock the next phase, the ability to submit and vote on proposals that will shape the very future of the XRP ledger. Link down below in the description and also in the pinned comment. Let's push this thing to 1,000 members so we can get to work here. It's $10 paid in XRP for lifetime membership. And of course, it also gives you rights to profits of the DAO as we move forward. Check it out. Before we move on here, make sure you're subscribed, hit the bell, all that good stuff. Now let's get after it here. All right, the next thing we see, this time of the month, I always go over to Grayscale and I read their reports. If you don't, you should. They have some really good reports there. And this week, we see Building Block XRP. They're covering the XRP token and the XRP ledger in this month's report. And of course, it's because Grayscale's getting ready to launch the XRP ETF. They want the world to know. You wouldn't have saw this before. They would cover Ethereum and all these other things. Now they're covering XRP. This is a big moment. Again, they go through to say, look, it used to be simply payments. Now it has all sorts of advanced features, NFTs, AMMs, DEX, issued assets, all sorts of stuff. And beyond that, it's not, some of the stuff's been around, but it hasn't been a focus of development. That's the thing. The DEX has been there since day one, but no one really focused on it. Now they are. This is a big part of the value proposition, as they say in this article. I suggest you go over there, check this out. This is a really good one. And this is how investors are going to look at this space. Why do I want XRP? What's the value play? Well, it's of course payments, but it's a whole heck of a lot more. It's transformative. It's moving quick. And people are going to want to jump on this train. Go ahead and read that article. You will see here. Now, Crypto Darren put up a cautionary tale today. And I suggest everyone goes and watches it because he's been around for a long time. And he says when he would hear stories like this about people being hacked, he'd think, oh, well, they weren't careful. They didn't know what they're doing. And his whole wallet was drained. And he walks you through how it happened, clicked on something he shouldn't have. And, this Trojan went throughout his system. And next thing you know, there goes all his crypto. It's pretty complicated, but that's the way these things work, right? It's a design system to try to snatch your crypto. And you have to be so careful because one little mistake and that's it. I feel so bad for Darren, but as he said here, he's going to rebound bigger and better than ever. And I believe it too. This guy's as smart as they come, and he will rebound and he will rebuild up, his investment portfolio. I guarantee you that. But watch this video because it just shows how easy, even for someone that knows crypto, that's been around, to make one little mistake. And so you got to think about this ahead of time. Segregate your risk. Don't have everything on one ledger, one hardware wallet, one computer, one exchange. Try to segregate stuff. So if you do make a mistake, hopefully it doesn't take everything. It's quite unfortunate. You got to foolproof this stuff because everyone makes a mistake sooner or later. It just will always happen. No one is perfect all of the time. And I think this is a very informative video by Darren showing exactly that. Check it out. Now, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says today the U.S. Treasury and the IRS issued new guidance giving crypto exchange-traded products, ETFs, a clear path to stake digital assets and share stake rewards with retail investors. This has really been one of the things that has held back the Ethereum ETF because, if you bought Ethereum just direct, you get those staking rewards. If I buy the ETF, not only do I pay a fee, which is quite reasonable, but I lose out on all my staking rewards. And so that's held that ETF back, I think, a lot. There's a big disadvantage to buying that. And further, it's going to help a lot. There's a lot of proof of stake coins out there. I think a lot of investors are going to like this idea of earning dividends, so they're marching closer to that reality. So we're going to have all of these coins like XRP, Solana, Cardano. Those are going to go live, so we'll get broader access to the crypto market. You're going to have bundled products. We're going to have staking rewards. Like this space, these ETFs for cryptos, I think are going to be quite popular. Watch that develop. That was a big move there. I think that's going to bring a lot of people. John Deaton today announced he's going to be running for senator. I can't wait to see what he does there in Massachusetts. Wish him the best of success, and I can't wait to support him along the way. I hope you do too as well. Anyone that is pro-crypto, we got to root for them. But further, John Deaton, our decentralized attorney for the XRP ecosystem, helping us represent us in that court case, Ripple versus the SEC. That had implications for us, the XRP investor. He represented our interests. He's helping in a link to. He's done a lot for us, and I hope we can do a lot for him here in his run for senator. Best of luck to him. We see Hood is building a fund that would let retail investors get exposure to private AI startups. So that's a problem, There's so much going in the AI space right now, but it's not easy to get in. All these things are private companies, and by the time they do go public, look at OpenAI. They say it may be worth $1 trillion. All of that growth, we've missed out on. If you're not buying into private companies, well, Hood is looking for a way to help us be able to get into that stuff. So those early stage AI type of ventures. I like Robinhood. It's not my main brokerage, but it's one I use more and more now. and they are quite they've moved the space a lot. If you remember what it used to cost to trade securities, to trade stocks, and now it's pretty much free and across most platforms nowadays. So they've done a lot here, and this would be a big one. And if they have a good fund, I'll have to see what assets they have in it, but it's definitely interesting to me, at least in premise. Bloomberg, senators unveil crypto draft. So we saw this bill, and it essentially makes the CFTC the oversight for the crypto space. Most cryptos will be commodities, which is interesting because the CFTC they generally don't have jurisdiction over commodities. If I'm selling barrels of oil, I don't register with the CFTC, right? Only if I'm selling derivative products. But in this case, they would oversee crypto. So it's not quite really a regular commodity like we think. Of course, this bill has some gaps. They haven't addressed DeFi. There's a placeholder in there, some other stuff. Seems to protect self-custody, which is great. It has some frameworks here, but this stuff is never going to be perfect. You can't spell it out exactly. You got to kind of leave it a little bit ambiguous because this is the big deal. Most people don't understand. Everything is a commodity, even securities. So if you call something a commodity, that means nothing. Anything, even something that's inherently a commodity, could be sold as a security, which leaves the door open for interpretation. Of course, attacks like we've seen from Gary Gensler. But, if they get something like this out, gives us a lot of guidance. It's really going to protect this space a lot. Nothing is foolproof. Again, if we get some wackadoo in there that wants to try to come after crypto companies, they can try. But this space is going to be so big, and we get some regulations through there that gives us some clarity. It's going to be impossible to even mess with people in this space. Hopefully this gets done this year. Again, next year, you're getting ready for the midterms. It's a little bit tougher here. Interesting poll here. I saw someone put up, Nebuchadnezzar, said, someone asked me to create this poll, so here it is. Any FLR holders, flare holders, still actively buying Songbird? And last bull run, I sold my Songbird pretty close to the top. Not exact. You never totally hit the top, and I never bought back in. People always ask me, are you buying Songbird? And it's kind of like FLR seems like the deal. I never really go that direction. It seems like most people are doing the same, which, sometimes you go against the crowd, you do well. Maybe that's something I need to look at. But 67% of people that took this poll, 224 votes, they're not actively buying Songbird. It's not a blockchain I know a lot about. I know its function, and it's this Canary network to Flare, but I don't know what the development looks like on the chain or not. Let me know down below if I should look into Songbird, if it's something that you're investing in, and if I should, when I go to this ecosystem, instead of buying just Flare, maybe I should put a little money towards Songbird. I don't know. Haven't really looked at it. I'm interested to hear what you have to say. As always, please like, please subscribe. The revolution will be televised right here on Jungle Link.